Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back and checking my new video. My name's Darth Rich, and this is the second video that I've made on Star Citizen. In fact, it's probably the second video that I've intended to go up on YouTube ever. So the first one I did was because I had newly discovered Star Citizen, and I was really starting to get into it, and found that it was something that perhaps I will probably stick with for quite some time, I would have thought. So I'm very, very new to the universe and the community, so it's kind of my perspective really, and perhaps anybody in a similar position, it gives them a few ideas of what happens really. So there's been a new addition to the hangar. The reason being is that as I've got more and more involved, I discovered that the packages and the pledges that you make have a what is affectionately called a melt value. So the melt value of the packages or the standalone ships, or even some of the extra items as well, I believe, can be what melted down to the cash dollar value. And when you do that, those dollars are then free to spend on another package or ship of your choice. So it gives you the opportunity to, perhaps have a look around and try out some of the different ships. Perhaps melt down one of the larger ships into, several smaller ones, and quite the opposite to crew some of the smaller ships or styles of ships that have been duplicated, and put those dollars towards a slightly larger ship or something with a completely different focus. Well, because of this, we have one of the F7s in our hangar here. We have the F7C-R Hornet Tracker variant. There's several of these. They all are basically prepared and adapted for different roles. I suppose you'd say this is one of the more premium single pilot, single crewed ships. They are more expensive than the Auroras, the Deltas, and the 300 series. And so I thought it'd be nice to perhaps have a look at one. Now this is the Tracker variant, so this is geared up to with additional scanning equipment, and is perhaps probably be able to go on recon missions and to keep its distance to perhaps the target, whether it's a known pirate area or perhaps a fleet of ships that you don't know quite what they're up to, and maybe the information that you get back will be able to help you to decide whether you're going to confront or attempt to contact these people, or perhaps maybe just avoid them. Or if you're part of a larger fleet of ships and crew, then perhaps you can go on ahead and find out what the score is before the rest of your fleet decides what they're going to do. So it's a really good looking ship. It has a really utilitarian sort of look to it. It looks like it means business, doesn't it? Now, obviously, the additional scanning equipment is fitted to this F7 at the expense of some weaponry, but that's not to mean that it doesn't have any weapons at all. So you can see just on the top of the ship there, if you just see there's a bit of a dome. On some of the other variants, I think the Super Hornet, there's a turret there with a quite beastly weapon. So we've sacrificed that for the scanning equipment, and I think you can see on here there's some antennae, some very large intakes there. But I really like the style of it. It's not overly futuristic, but you really get a feeling that this craft means business. So going to some of the statistics, it's 22.5 meters in length. It's full cargo mass. I don't think it can take any freight in here whatsoever. Is just a shade over 22,000 kilograms. So the maximum crew you can fit in here is just one, and it has a power plant size of 3. So some of the additional scanning equipment it's got on there, as I said, I think you can see underneath there's some sort of, I don't know if we can get in and have a better look. It's a bit dark under here, but you can see there's, you know, it's fairly geared up for its purpose. Now the colours are very nondescript. I suppose that you want to keep under the radar, so to speak, because of this. But yeah, no, I think it's a really good looking craft. So I think get her in around the other side. For those of you that didn't see the first video, or perhaps don't know much about Star Citizen, this is the aero view hangar. Now last time when I did a video, there was only 2 ships in here. So this second part where this Hornet is was completely closed off. So we just had the one long hangar basically. And because I've now added another spacecraft to the hangar, it's expanded it, and one would expect that as we expand further and further, then this partition will come down and your hangar will get larger and larger. So I really like that. You know, if you've got a massive fleet of ships, it's going to take you, some considerable real time to get from one end to the other. So it gives you an idea of scale, and I really like all those sort of things. So. I'll just have a look inside the cockpit here. So that's kind of cool how the cockpit glass kind of slides forward there, and you have these huge air intakes. Really, really good. So again, the graphics and the level of detail is quite something. It really is. As we get in this cockpit, it's I suppose it's a little dark in here, but you can see it, it looks pretty good. And you can only imagine what it's going to be like when you eventually get in these spacecraft and eventually power up the thrusters, and the hangar door opens and off you go. I think that's something that I really can't wait for, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So we can see around the cockpit here, it's everything looks fairly cozy. Not a huge amount of room, but there's a fairly good view all the way around. It's not as uninterrupted as some of the other spacecraft I've sat in, such as the 300 series and the Avenger. But you can still have a good look around, and I think it looks really smart, really smart. I think this probably would suit my play style, to be perfectly honest. As I explained in the first video, the actual balls deep combat is not something that I would certainly go out looking for. I'd probably be entering combat more as a defense mechanism than anything else. I'm more interested in the space travel, discovery, exploration, perhaps transport and trading, and things of that nature. So maybe this is something that I quite like, but with you being able to check out a few of the other spacecraft, I think I'll probably do that now. And as the different modules open and we get to fly these spaceships, then we'll get a feel of what we like, because the aesthetics and the actual intentions of what you're supposed to be able to do with these crafts is one thing, but once you actually get out and fly them, that's something else that you've got to take into consideration as well. And you've also got to take into consideration the fact that you will be able to adapt most of these spacecraft as well, so you will be able to swap out the hard points for perhaps more weapons and things of that nature, so you get a fine balance for what you're intending to do. So thank you very much for checking out this video. I intend on doing a few more of them. It all depends on time, and if I've got anything to talk about, or if I've got anything new to put up there. But I really appreciate anybody that does take time out to watch, and certainly if you've got to the end of this video, I very much appreciate that. If you do want to subscribe, I'm sure there will be more Star Citizen videos coming, and I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so that's me out for now, and hope to see you next time.